Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Airport CEO and welcome back to Belfast International Airport. Things are going really well at the moment. We have just over $18.4 million, which I want to say is probably enough to do all of the construction that I want to do today. And I kind of want to get right to it because there is a bit of an elephant in the room that we need to talk about, because I decided to get rid of everything that I had planned to build up here. I'm going to slightly alter the deal, and we will pray that I do not alter it any further, because basically the design that I put in here, while cool for a single terminal, was not very good for making something that I can expand in a way that I was happy with. And also, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I did sit down to record this episode and I did build a whole bunch of stuff that I thought was very cool looking, except I didn't actually record it. I started recording my voice and 45 minutes later I looked at my game capture and it wasn't running. It was running, but it wasn't recording. So yeah, that was a great time. I've been doing this for nearly 13 years on this YouTube channel. It'll be 13 years in August, and 13 years later, I still sometimes just forget to hit the big red button. So basically what I'm gonna do is just go across the entire top of the map with a big old road. And this is something that we're gonna go ahead and build because it's really not the end of the world if we build this thing. I'm kind of okay with building the road for all of this. What I'd also like to do is come in here and start figuring out where parking's gonna go, because essentially what we're gonna do is something very similar to what we've done before, which is the terminals lined up, you know, one next to the other. Up here, there are gonna be crossover points between them. I'm gonna try and make it as detailed, but also make it make sense as much as I can. I don't just want to build a big box. I want to build something that's really gonna fit what we put in there. I have ideas, I have plans, but first things first, I do want to go in here and I want to start figuring out things like parking. So this is where we're going to go into planning mode, and this is where we're going to start looking at things like our public parking lots. So very simply, we are going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to say 3 of these, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3 like this. And then down at the bottom of this, I want to go in with some more roads as per usual. And this is where we're going to start looking at taxi stops. This is where we're going to start looking at bus stops and all that good stuff. So I think what we'll do is start with car stops, and we'll go, do I want to go to the middle with this? Do I want to go to the ends with this? Do I want to put ways for people to walk in between these guys? I don't think I need to do all of that. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I guess we can do some taxi stops right here in the middle. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives us space for people to get across right here, which is perfect. Then at the backs of these guys, I want to do some bus stops. Now, do I want to do these in such a way that I'm going to have gaps in between them? Does it matter? I don't think it does. So we're gonna do this. We'll have something like this. I was counting wrong. This is totally fine. And then we'll bring the planned roads around something like this. What I want at the bottom of all of this, of course, is some kind of big old sidewalk right here. And this is kind of where I want to start playing with some terminal buildings, because I've done some measurements and I know that the small aircraft stands are 5 big tiles across. I want 10 of them. So we need a terminal building that is going to be 50 of those big tiles across. So that is going to be out to about there. And for now, we are going to do 50 by 10. Now, this is not going to be the final size of this building because it doesn't need to be the final size of this building. We're going to really go in here. I'm going to just place the things that we need. I'm going to make them look good together. And I'm going to start chopping out bits of the terminal building if and when we need them or don't need them or whatever we got to do. What I want to do first, though, is start working on making the parking sort of symmetrical. So we're going to go back into infrastructure. We're going to go back to our parking lots. And what we want to do is get a little something right here, And these ones in the middle can now go away because I'm hoping, and unfortunately I can't, these don't actually line up all that well. That's honestly fine though. I'm kind of okay with that. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is I will now leave some gaps between these because we can have some fun with paths and all that good stuff. This is totally fine. In fact, I'm almost wondering if it would be an idea to move our bus stops or taxis or whatever into this middle space. That might be kind of cool. And then we can have, or even just the car drop off in here. That might be a really cool idea. Let's give that a shot so that we have traffic coming in on the right side of the road. So let's do, how do I want to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do 6. I don't think I'm going to do 6. I think we're going to do a bunch down this side as well. And that should be fine. And looking at this, we can totally double this up. Oh, we can get so many car stops in here. This is going to be good. This will be a little one-way road going through here. And I'm totally okay with that. I think it's going to be really cool for the car stops. And then the rest of this, we're just going to bulldoze all of these guys and just sort of do it again. So this right here is kind of what I'm talking about by designing this thing in such a way that it's got very distinct areas. It's designed to sort of fit the needs of what we're doing. And so basically what I'm doing here is very clearly marking out the midpoints of this building. Now this right here is the middle. To the left of this line right here in the middle of the screen is 25 big tiles. To the right is 25 big tiles. So what I think I'm going to do is just put a bunch of doors in there. This is going to be sort of our lobby looking space. I've chopped these parts out here just for a little bit of design. Basically, I just wanted something that would look kind of cool. Can I get a medium window in there? I totally can. So a nice medium window right there, nice medium window right there. And I can totally do some medium windows on the sides of this as well, just to get a bunch of glass at the entrance to the building, which I think is going to be kind of important. Now, when it comes to sidewalks for all of this space, we want to go out here, here, and here. And I'm just going to line this entire road with a big old sidewalk, which I think is pretty cool. Now for the building itself, I feel like I've done this before, but we're going to go for a little sidewalk that does sort of line the front of the building. Just a little something like this the entire way around. I'm not too sure what we'll do at the ends just there, but we're not really needing to worry about that just yet. I think what we'll do is just continue this down all symmetrical like, and that should be fine. And I think for in here, we're just going to do some slightly smaller sections of sidewalk just to kind of fill that in a little bit. We can have some fun with bushes and hedges and all that good stuff. But honestly, as much as I'm building this, I'm now realizing that a lot of the front of this building is actually not going to be here because a lot of it's not needed. We're not going to go too crazy with shops. We're not doing a whole bunch of them in here. We'll do maybe one shop, one restaurant or cafe or something like that. And then you just go through security, you do your thing, it's whatever. So all this space at the front here really just isn't needed. So I think what we'll do is take a look at the back for a second, because that is where our aircraft stands are going to go. So 1, 2, 3, we'll do 1, 2, 3. That's 6, 7, 8, that's 9 and 10. That's perfect. That's what we're looking for. We've got a nice sort of line of 10 aircraft stands. And then what I'd like to do is get my taxiways, and I'm going to do something that's a little odd is what I'm going to do. Instead of the 3x3 idea that I had, or the 5x5 that we usually do, I want to go 7x7, and I want to go 7x7 over here as well. Not because we're going to be bringing any large aircraft through here, but because I still want to do my whole thing where we have some general aviation coming in here. And if I do a little 7x7 thing, I can do another 10 small stands just opposite the ones that we have. And then we can kind of double up our taxiways, is my thinking. So obviously these guys can connect across a little something like this. And if my plan, if my whole idea about only needing a little 3x3 section for small aircraft, if that's true, then in theory, I can do this and I can do this. And that gives us a huge amount of space there in the middle where the planes are not going to be overlapping, which is fine. We're not necessarily going to be doing this on this side. This might get changed a little bit. I'm not really too sure what's going on with those, but that's the general idea. And that should mean that, you know, one plane comes out, it takes the top route, it takes the bottom one. Planes can kind of turn and go where they need to go to hopefully avoid each other. I want to see if this works. And just given how much space we're going to be playing with for all of this, I'm fairly sure it will. At least I'm fairly hopeful that it will. While we're here, we can also go in with our service roads just up to there and there. And I suppose we should figure out where the little vehicle checkpoint's going to go. And I mean, looking at it, I want to say it would make sense to put it over here. But I also know that we are likely going to be having some kind of connection from this building into the medium terminal, which is going to have its own parking. So my whole idea that I talked about of having, you know, just parking over here and people walking to their terminals, they can still walk from one terminal to the other. They're still going to have to do that if they transfer from a medium to an international flight. It's just that they don't have to do that necessarily. So that's kind of what's going on here. So when it comes to this checkpoint, I suppose what we could do is put it off to the side here. And that might be, man, I wish you could flip this thing. I wish you could turn this around. Hold on a minute. Is this something that you can do in this game that I've never known about? Can you flip a vehicle checkpoint? You can't even click a vehicle checkpoint. That's unfortunate. That would be kind of cool. Being able to just turn that thing around and be like, yeah, the checkpoint's on the other side. That'd be kind of good. Because this thing's in a really inconvenient spot. It's just in a really, really bad place is where it is. So, yeah, it would have to go there, or it would have to go down. It cannot go down here. That's the unfortunate thing about it. I think it can go underground, which would be a choice. A bad one, but it would be a choice. I think realistically, the little vehicle checkpoint is just going to go, I'm just going to put it on like the edge of the map, and that'll be fine. So it's going to live right there. We will bring this road down to here. That is not what I'm looking for. And we'll bring this road sort of out and down to here. And that seems fine. It'll be fine. It's a bit weird looking, but it's fine. So while I'm building all of these taxi stops and these bus stops and just everything else that's in here in terms of public transport, I do want to say that I know this is probably a bit too much for a small airport, at least the small terminal, but with how this game tends to work, there's really no guarantee that people from the international terminal or from the medium terminal aren't going to come over here to get a bus. So I think the best thing we can do is just have a ton of parking and a ton of bus stops and just everything that we could possibly want just the entire way across here. And so that's basically what we're going to be doing is, you know, all these different ways that people can kind of walk down through here. I think that's important. I think sidewalks down through here are going to be important as well. I think a little sidewalk across here is going to make it look better, and something down here is going to look pretty decent as well. And so that kind of brings us to the building. And I think the way I want to do things for this building is kind of give people the opportunity to just immediately get some information. I think that's a good start. So you kind of come through that front door and you're going to have an info desk pretty much right there. I think that's a good idea. Maybe off to the side for the info desks would be an idea. So you kind of come in the side door, or the info desks could even be off to the side themselves. So they're kind of against. Oh, I like that idea. I like the info desks being off to the side there, so they kind of guide you through the middle. I think that's pretty cool. I think we can also go in here with some vending machines right in those corners, so that those are just front and center. Actually, I realize I'm blocking some windows there, aren't I? Ooh. Okay, info desks will have to, they're gonna have to move, unfortunately. I was onto something there, but I don't want to block the windows. Although I suppose I can just move them down a little bit, and now they're not blocking the windows, but they're still kind of doing the same thing, which I think is great. And I also want to put, I think, some seats in front of those windows. I know that's, again, technically sort of blocking the windows, but my thinking here is, as much as these are unlikely to be used, they will help sort of channel our passengers in a very specific way, which I think is good. And it's also going to mean that in theory, even though I'm pretty sure passengers in the game won't do it, you could sit here while waiting for a bus, right? So this would be a nice little area to sit while waiting for a bus to come through or something like that. So this will be a nice little sort of entrance area. It'll funnel you into the airport, and that's perfectly fine. Now, when it comes to our check-in desks, which is the first thing we want people to go to, I'm not going to do self-check-in or self-bag drop for this airport, although it would be convenient. I just like the idea that it's a small airport, therefore it has sort of a slightly more old school approach in that it has regular check-in desks. Now, I don't need to go too far back with these, although we do need some space for queues. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can sort of split these. So this one can do 2, this one can do 3. I don't know if we connect them that way, it doesn't really matter. But we'll do like 4 of these. And that seems fine by me. I think that's a decent little, that should be enough for 10 small aircraft, I think. Oh, do I want more of them? I don't think we need more of them. We could do more of them. I just don't think we need 6 of them. Now, I would like to see about putting some kind of little staff area back here, because I think that would be a great idea. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to come down something this way and this way. And I guess what we'll do is put just a wall straight across. We are going to need some room for conveyor belts. So actually, now that I think about it, this should go back a little bit further. These guys can come back a little bit further as well. And the door for what is going to be a staff room can go right there in the middle. And then I guess we will do something like this, And I want to put an elevator in here because I want to try and put our baggage handling and processing underground for this whole thing. And this is honestly about as far back as I want to go for the staff room as well, because we are starting to encroach on what should be our air side for the airport. So the elevator, fortunately, will fit in here relatively well. It's going to be a little bit cramped, but I'm kind of okay with that. So let's just go and build whatever this is. A little 8x4 structure just underground is totally fine. Let's grab our elevator and cram it into... Oh, it will go in the middle. And I'm not against the idea of putting the elevator right in the middle of this space, because it would probably work a little bit better. So let's do that. Let's put the elevator right in the middle of this space, which unfortunately means I have to extend this down a little bit further, but that's totally fine. We'll take you out. We'll go back and get our elevator. And then I want it right about, I'm kind of thinking right about there is going to be our spot. So right there, we can put some walls around it down here. I'm not really too sure what down here is going to look like just yet, but we'll get there is what we will do. So this is going to be staff access essentially to, we can do offices down there. We can do baggage handling down there. We can do baggage security down there. I just need some kind of central access to all of those things. And that's what this is going to be. We're also going to do some doors just on either side of this, because I think that's important. We can do some doors here and here as well, because I think that's important. And I suppose, given what we're doing here, we should maybe actually look at taking out just these 2 top parts and put a wall across here. Because now, if we go and get our conveyor belts, we can have the little escalators be outside of that building, which I think is good. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. These can sort of filter across and go wherever they need to go, or they can just go in here straight to baggage security. I haven't really figured that out. I'm kind of just improvising, but we're getting somewhere with this is what we're doing. This is also all going to be a staff zone. This is all going to be a staff zone. And this, now that I think about it, hold on. Hold on a minute. Doesn't a baggage thing need to be in a secure? It does need to be in a secure zone. Interesting. Okay. This staff room might need to be accessible instead of from this side, from the air side, because that's going to let me make it secure, which is kind of what I want. So we're going to figure that out. But what we're going to do first is, I suppose, figure out security. and then maybe some shops as well as some bathrooms. And I'm trying to figure out which order we should do that in. I want to say bathroom, shop, security. So for bathrooms, I guess, let's not go too crazy. We will do a little 6x6 room right there and a little 6x6 room right there. And that's going to be big enough for our bathroom. For our shop room, I need something with a decent little bit of size to it. 12x6 might not be big enough. 16x6 might be too big. I don't want to take away too much space from the air side. That's kind of important, but I think 16 by 10 is about as big as I'm willing to go. And this really is bringing me over further than I'd like, but that's fine. We'll do a food room in here as well. It's also going to be 16 by 10. And then security is in here, is basically my thinking. So let's put some walls around these very quickly. And then when it comes to the shop, it is actually big enough for a 3-star contract, which is fantastic. This one over here obviously has nothing in it right now, but it's also big enough for a 3-star contract. These guys do unfortunately happen to want cooking stations, which I'd like to avoid. These guys want cafe counters and display fridges, which is kind of more of what I'm looking for. I'm really not interested in putting any kind of, I don't want to put a restaurant in here. That's something I'd like to avoid. So we're just going to grab one of these. We're going to put it right down here. We can do some food counters just across here because I think that's totally fine. And we can do some display fridges maybe here and here. And then we'll sort of, I guess, just do them down the walls as well. And that'll be fine. We'll just kind of make some, I don't know. It's basically just, it's a little shop. You can go in here, you can buy some snacks for your trip. And that's basically the entire idea for this thing. So we'll get just a few little aisles going, a little something like this the entire way down. And that looks all right. I think I'm kind of okay with that. I would like to get some hedges into some of these spaces because I think it's going to look a little bit better. And I think some hedges just sort of across here might look kind of cool. And then maybe over this way, a little something like that as well, just to sort of bring it together and tie it all together. I think we'll make it also a little bit symmetrical with the 4 tiles right there. So that's our bathrooms. That's our shops. The next thing we need to work out is security. So for that, I think what we'll do is something that we've done before, which is have this little corridor that's going to loop down into the secure space, meaning we're going to have 2 security spaces in this airport. The question is whether or not we can do this in a way that's going to be good. So that right there is a 3x9 thing that would let me do 3 small security desks or whatever they're called. If I go to 12, that's great. But now we're in a situation where, unfortunately, if I'd made this 1 tile down, this would fit better. So I guess we're just going to stick with the idea that this is all going to be weirdly shaped and all over the place. It's what we're going to be doing. In fact, this is going to come down 1 more because the wall out here is going to go across. So this will be 4 security checkpoints, which is totally fine. We want to come down to here. And basically, that's how people are going to loop through. They're going to come down to the bottom here. So through here, into a queue, out, down your air side. In fact, I think I'm going to bring this back the way I'd kind of planned to before. So you kind of loop around, you come out here, now your air side. So we'll put some doors on this because I do like me some doors on my my security things. And then I guess we go in with our small security checkpoints. We can get 1. How do I want to do this? Let me take out a little bit of this. And then it was the small one right here. If I can ever click on it, which would be fantastic. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That'll be fine. I think that'll be fine. I think that'll work. Where are you guys going? What are they doing? Oh, they're still building the road. Okay. I was slightly worried about what they were doing, but we're good. Okay, so this is the bare minimum that we need for what I want to do. I've got myself a secure zone in here, and I've sort of split this up so that now this is a part of the secure zone, which means this is part of the secure zone as well. This is also a staff room, which means staff will be the only ones going in there, which is great. What I would now like to do is go and start bulldozing parts of this building that we don't need, such as basically all of this is kind of my thinking. So all of that can go away, and then all of that can go away. I don't know if I've quite done this right, but up to about there can go away. This section of wall needs to go as well. And annoyingly, this now leaves us with proportions that don't quite work for what I want to do. Although I'm relatively sure I can fix that if I just delete you guys and sort of shuffle all of this back by just a single tile. So this door needs to be moved in by just 1 to about there. And then this wall needs to be moved to about there. And if I now go to my bulldoze option for the terminal, I can take out all of this, and that gives me a nice straight line up to there. Now this space might also be relatively useless, and I'm kind of looking at it and thinking that it mostly is kind of useless, because I could put a wall straight across here, and if I can move this down, I can essentially take out all of this as well, which I'd really like to do. The problem with doing that is I've now left myself with a bit of a weird space for security, because these guys, they're great, but I have some extra room is the problem, and I don't like having that extra space. I could, if I wanted to, I guess move this all down a little bit, and that would give me my, or I can move it up, I suppose. Yeah, let's just move it up. Let's just make this all a little bit easier for myself. Let me just delete all of this and just move it all up. And so while this does give us a little bit less security, it just looks a little bit better, and we're still just using the space that we need to be using, which is kind of the goal for this entire thing. Now, when it comes to getting some shops into the air side of this whole thing, I haven't really figured out how I'm going to do that just yet, because I was kind of thinking of using this space, but I'm not 100% sure that that's going to work. I was kind of thinking we could maybe be kind of cheeky and just extend the foundations a little bit, so we can do like this, and that gives me potentially enough room for a shop, which will be fine. And we can do sort of the same thing over on this side, which again gives me just about enough room for a shop, and that should be totally fine. So we'll go in and bring some walls across here. I want to bring this down a little bit, and the same thing on the other side, bring this across, and that should be hopefully enough room for some kind of shop and some kind of little cafe thing, which is what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for a restaurant in here. I could probably get one, but I'm not really looking for one. So for now, that is going to be some kind of food room, and this is going to be some kind of shop room, which is hopefully going to be big enough for, yeah, we got a 3-star here. That'll be fine. So once everything's gone from the other airport, we should be all right. And we'll see. We have a 1-star down here. That's fine. That's the Hilltop Cafe. We have a 1-star down here, which does want a cooking station. We'll figure it out, is what we'll do. But this should be enough room for basically everything else that needs to go in here. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I am going to use the self-boarding desks or gates or whatever they're called for this, because they just work so much better with these doors. They go nice and central, which is something that I value. And I think what we'll do is this, as well as a little bit of a design with some hedges around it, because I think that looks neat. And then basically, I wonder if I could get away with some little chairs just here, and not there, but there. And I wonder if, I mean, that's not going to be enough. That's kind of the key thing with this. That is absolutely not going to be enough. But if I did this and this, that's kind of neat looking. I'm kind of okay with that. And we could do this, this, and this, and this, and that should be enough. I want to say that's probably enough seating for one small flight. And what's great about it is I can just copy and paste this the entire way along. So I just need to line it up with the doors right there. I need to line it up with the doors right there. And then with all of them placed, with a bunch of hedges in here, some chairs, some decals, some little laptop things, we've got a whole departures area. And I really, really love how this whole thing has turned out. I've also got some trash cans in there because I know that's important. I do want to get some vending machines in there as well because they are important to me. But there's something that you might have noticed about all of this that I've only just realized and remembered. Because as much as I love and adore what we've built here, we are missing any kind of baggage claim area. That's something that I totally forgot to build in here. And the thing is, with the baggage bays, which are these guys down here, one baggage bay can handle 12 small stands. So we only need one baggage claim area, which is tricky because I want to build two because I want to keep the symmetry that we have going on here. And I am not 100% sure how we're going to do that unless I just build two baggage bays underground, which I guess that's what we're going to have to do, right? It's very wasteful, but we have almost $20 million. So I suppose that's what we're going to do. Now, when it comes to this baggage claim space, I think what I'd like to try and do is I'd like to kind of get it in here. So it's going to be a decent, it probably doesn't need to be that big. We're going to go with here, and I'm going to just sort of bring this around this way, which obviously I have a lot of stuff to work with here in terms of, in terms of walls and things I need to get rid of. So this would need to go, this would need to go, this would need to go. This all needs to go away. All of this needs to go away. And that does give us a very awkward corridor to work with, which is unfortunate. So how would I want to do this is the real question. Now, I think down here we can put a wall, and I think what we can do is sort of continue this secure area through here, because this is how people are going to be getting out of here. I want to say it can go all the way down there. And then we need a space that's 4 across for the security exit. That's kind of important. And I guess we'll expand the terminal a little bit here. We'll take out all of this. And let's have a look at our security exit. So it's going to be this guy, basically. So it's going to be right there. And honestly, that's not a bad place for it, if I'm completely honest. So we'll extend the security thing. Security exit's going to live right here. We can bring a wall just across here and up alongside of it. And then I guess we can, if I want to, bring this down here. In fact, let's just take that up a little bit further. Bring this up to here, and we can do a large door here, here, and here, so that if you're going to another plane, you can absolutely do that. If you're leaving, you can do that, and you can go into baggage claim right here, with also a door on baggage claim itself. So you can go get your bag and then just leave, which I think is great. So that's a bit of a mess, but it still kind of keeps the pyramid kind of triangle thing going that we have going with the airport. So let's basically do the same thing on the other side. We want to just hug the outside of this thing to about there, and then it's a 4x4 square. It's a whole mess. But I think, given that I totally forgot to build this, this is about the best that we can do. And so with that done, I think the last thing we have to do up here is put in some kind of floor, because it's a little bit boring to look at. And I want to go in here and do this as quickly as I possibly can. I really don't feel like spending absolutely forever on flooring for this airport right now. So we're going to go in with this nice light wood to start with. I think that'll look pretty decent for a lot of this. And I would also like to maybe go in with some carpet. I don't really know. I do want to play with carpet in a few different places. I just haven't quite figured out where I would like to do that yet. So we'll leave the light wood for there. We can go for the usual sort of black tiles the entire way through security, because I think it makes it nice and easy to be able to see security from a distance. And also it makes, it's a nice contrast against the passengers, so we can see if security is super busy. When it comes to these shops, let's do these blue tiles well, do I want to do blue tiles? Yeah, we'll do blue tiles, because these are going to be shops. They're not going to be, no one's going to be sitting in these food shops. They're going to be going in, they're going to a display fridge, they're going out. That's just how it's going to be. Over this way, I'm kind of thinking we do the usual sort of maybe red sort of carpet in here that just leads you to the security exit. I kind of like that that's a thing that we do. We'll go for the same sort of thing over on the other side, and then underneath the security exit we'll also do the same black tiles, because I think that's kind of neat as well. And then for baggage claim, I'm thinking blue. I'm thinking some blue carpets in here, so you can kind of see that that's like the I don't know, the land side, right? That's why it's blue. This side is red, that side's blue. It just kind of works. And then for the bathrooms, we'll keep it simple. We'll go for some nice plain tiles, and I've got these guys lined up so I can just go through like that and like this. The staff rooms will follow the same rules that we always do. Orange carpets underneath those. And that leaves us with the air side, which I do want to get a little bit fancy with. And I think what we're going to do for the air side is initially go through here with some light wood. So basically everything in here is going to be covered in light wood. All right, so this is what we are now working with, including some space underground for some baggage bays. We have our bags coming in right here. They get split left and right to the two baggage bays. The bags go out left and right to the two baggage claim spaces. All things considered, everything about this is now ready to build and be operational and hopefully good. Whether or not it is good, I don't know, but I don't know if I should build it yet because, well, I say everything's good to go. We don't actually have any airport services here just yet. We need fire coverage. We need policing. We need all that good stuff. So let's figure a lot of that out because I also want to put de-icing in here. I think that's going to be kind of important. So well, yeah, let's figure out what we're doing in terms of airport services. We can bring a little road across here, which I think is fine. I'm not too sure if this taxiway here is going to get used for anything, but I like the idea that maybe we have our de-icing facilities on that taxiway for the small aircraft. I've really got no idea if they'll use it, but if they do, that'll be very, very cool and something that I'm very, very happy about. So that's going to be our little service road coming down here. And then we're going to need a whole bunch of space for vehicles to park. I'm not really super concerned about those being super central. So I think what we'll do is just go 1, 2, 3. We'll do 4 of them. I don't think we're going to need that many, but I am going to connect all the service roads together. So this will serve. Actually, you know what? We'll do 2 of them for now. We can expand that if we need to. I am going to be connecting the service roads together from this airport to the medium one to the large one and the helicopters. So vehicles theoretically could be shared, but if I'm assigning things properly, then, well, then they won't be. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there is what we're going to do. I do like parking lots. I do like seeing the vehicles parked. I'm going to be honest, but I think just for the sake of saving space, we're not going to do that. What I am going to do is just bring out all these roads as we place the buildings. So that is our good old vehicle depot. We're not going to need either of these, but we do need fuel depots. I don't know if we need a medium one, but I think this seems like a really good space to put the fuel depots. So we're going to put a Jet A1 depot right there with an Avgas depot directly opposite. And we can bring our little service road out that little bit further. So that means we can refuel both the commercial and the general aviation flights, which is absolutely fantastic. Moving along, we then have a catering depot, which needs an outside connection. Would it fit up here anywhere? It really wouldn't. That's deeply upsetting. I always forget about this thing. Every single time I forget about this thing. I mean, I can do a tunnel. I can do, I don't want to do a tunnel, but I'm going to do a tunnel for this thing because it's about the only thing that makes sense. Let's do a waste depot as well. I do need my vehicles to drive through this thing or to be able to drive through this thing. So I don't know. Let's do it here. I guess, can it fit right there? It actually does look pretty cool down there, doesn't it? Is that too far though? Probably not, actually. I should mention my runways eventually are going to be way down here. So I have got a lot of room to play with here. So the waste depot is 100% going right there. And we are going to do a little road that sort of comes out and around like that, because that looks pretty cool. Now, when it comes to that catering depot, we are unfortunately going to have some rather huge, we're going to have some huge tunnels going around this thing, which I don't love, but it just is what it is. That's just how we're going to have to deal with this thing. Let's see. I could put it here. That feels a little bit out of the way. I could put it over on the other side. Oh, wait a minute. This needs to move because it's going to be right up against that taxiway. Ah, I thought I was being clever. I thought I was being clever with that, but nope, I'm making a mess. All right, so this is now everything that we could possibly need, including some de-icing pads down here. We can continue these taxiways all the way down, and we could connect them to this, which would allow this to be built and be functional. But my worry is that when you have separate terminals, people tend to want to cross from one terminal to another. And the last thing I want is for, well, basically for my passengers down here to be like, I want to go all the way up there, because I just don't need them to do that right now. That's kind of the last thing I need them to be doing right now. So I'm kind of faced with a dilemma. Do I go ahead and start tearing? I mean, I could just tear all of this apart. I could cancel all of my flights. I could set my contractors to start working on this, and we could basically start again. The only thing we would be keeping would be the taxiways and the runways. And I'm very tempted to do that because we have got $20 million right now. So it's very, very tempting. If we look at the dailies, our expenses are 748,000, and that is a lot of operation stuff. That's just operating costs. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, do I just turn the airport off and cancel all the flights? I'm very tempted. Very, very tempted. I don't know if there is a way to cancel all flights without just having to go and, you know, do it manually. I could actually just turn off all the stands and that would do it. Oh man, that might really upset the airlines, but you know, I think I might do it. I think we'd also have to get rid of all of our vehicles and sort of build that out from scratch, but I'm not against doing that, honestly. I've also realized that the one thing we're missing up here is a small hangar. So, you know what I think we should also do? We should probably only have de-icing on the way out, now that I think about it. Because this should probably, you know what, it's whatever. I'm not gonna set one-way things other than for these parts for now. Oh man, I don't know if you can tell how sort of nervous I am about the idea of just turning all this off and canceling all the flights, but I sort of am very tempted to do that because I think this looks really cool, and I think this will start making a little bit of money, and we have $20.5 million. That's enough to go in here and build another medium terminal, and I'm hoping that's enough to coast off of. So I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna go in here. I am going to turn the airport off. Oh boy. Oh boy. Close you. Can I close you? Not when there's a plane on the stand. I can't do it with you either. We're doing it. We're doing this. And there it is. We have turned off every single stand. We have no flights scheduled right now. None for tomorrow. We can have up to 350, which is a lot, but we have none right now. So let's go back into planning mode and let's do a couple of last minute things that I totally forgot about, which includes a nice large air traffic control tower, because that's ever so slightly essential when it comes to airport operations. You generally want to have one of these. It is recommended at the very least to have an air traffic control tower. It does generally help a little bit. So it's going to live out here. We're going to put some concrete just underneath it because we can. And I think that'll be completely fine. When it comes to everything else, we are also missing some subways. I think those are relatively important to have as well. Unfortunately, can't fit them in those spaces the way I would hope to. I could fit 2 of them out here though, which I wouldn't be against doing. I sort of like the idea that we would have these right there. Actually, I think that's kind of neat. We'll do some sidewalks right in front of it and that'll be fine. Could I squeeze some subways over here? I actually totally could. Do I want to put some subways over here is the question. Do I want to put them over here? I like the idea of them off to the sides there. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not too sure if it's going to be all that useful, but it's definitely what we're going to do. And I think that is now about everything that I need to do. So let me go ahead and let me take out all of this and all of this, because I do need to connect. That is actually going to, yeah, that is going to bulldoze. I do need to connect my new taxiways to the old taxiways. So bring this a little bit further down. And I think what I'm going to try and do somehow, some way, is bring this taxiway foundation down to about there. And I'm going to bring this one all the way down to about here and try and line it up with what's going on right about there. So it's a lot of taxiing if they happen to go this way, which I'm completely fine with. The only thing that we're keeping with all of this really is just the taxiways and the runways. Also, yeah, I do need to put a small hangar in here somewhere. So very quickly, small hangar. That's a fair enough spot for one, I think. That kind of works for me. I'd be willing to put it right about there with some little taxiways just running up to it like that. And I think that's all right. I think that's a decent little spot for the hangar. Let's bring this straight over. Oh boy, bring this straight down. We're getting into the territory where we're going to start building. We're getting there is what we're doing. But we also, in doing this, have to bulldoze so much. There are still people running around this airport as well. I'm not too sure why, but they definitely are. You know what I think I'm also going to have to do? I'm going to have to go in and fire everybody, because I need the administrators. They can stay because they're actually doing stuff. The executives need to stay as well, but the janitors, I'm firing everybody. Every single one of them is going to go. We can hire them back. We will get exactly the number of janitors that we need. Passenger service agents, exactly the same thing. I know some of these are really well trained and it's kind of a pain to get them back, but I want the exact numbers. It's a completely different airport now. Oh, I've got to say, that's a really sad sight seeing this all come together, but it's also reminded me, I need to get rid of all the vehicles that we have too. We need to go in here and just sell every bus, every ambulance, every belt loader, every catering truck. I don't want to assign anything, just everything needs to go. We're also losing some airline lounges in doing this. That's something that we're going to have to rebuild, not necessarily in the small terminal, because that's not really necessary, but definitely when it comes to the medium terminal, I'm definitely thinking we want to get some airline lounges in there. But that's all the vehicles gone. That is, I mean, we're making a bit of money by doing this, which is wild. A lot of these vehicles probably going to get stuck because the roads to get in and out of here happen to be built. Yeah, they happen to be attached to a lot of the stands is what they happen to be. You know what I've also forgot to do? Build another one of these. I need to build some baggage security up here before we get too carried away. So let's take a little bit of a look and figure out how we can do that. So this is where our bags are coming in. So we want them to filter out into security. How big is that security room? Because I might be able to do something kind of clever here. So this is a little 12 by 3 space. The part that I need is 9 by 3. So if we go and have a look over here, this is 8 by 3, which is frustrating. I was hoping it would be a little easier to work with. Okay, let's do Oh, how am I going to do this? This, and then a little 10 by 3 space should be totally fine. I realize I'm actually building this. I don't want to build this yet. We're not, I'm still in the plan. How do I cancel you? There we go. We're still very much in the planning phase. We're not going to be in the planning phase for long, but we're very much in the planning phase. Why is that? Why did that instantly build? I didn't need that to instantly build. Oh no, that right there is that's the part that really hurts. Just seeing the building, the main terminal that we started with however many episodes ago, just being pulled apart. But again, it's necessary. It's important. We gotta do this because it's the progress that we're making. It's what's going to let me do all of this. And that's what matters. We do, however, want to come in here with a contractor site, which I'm just going to slap right about there for now. And also with a delivery site, which is going to go right about there as well. We'll probably try and give them their own little space at some stage, but they are essential. We objectively need both of those. And I would like to move them away from down here because we just don't really want them down here anymore. So that one's going to go away. This is all going to go away. And this road can also now go away because it's just not really needed. This is basically the prep work involved in getting rid of this world entrance down here, because that's kind of the next step. In fact, there it goes. Along with these guys, they can go now that we've cleared out the boarding gates. We can mark those for demolition, as well. Everything underground is being pulled apart still. And the vehicles are freaking out too. The vehicles have no idea what they're doing, which, yeah, that checks out. You can be turned off and bulldozed as well. And we're still sitting. We have more money because we're refunding everything. And because we now have nothing that's charging us money in terms of expenses other than the contractors, we're actually doing quite well in terms of money, which is really surprising. And so just like that, above ground and below, the original airport's gone, which is really sad. It's really sad. I'm not sure how to feel about that, but it's gone. I did move the de-icing things as well, just while all of that was going on. And I kind of want to move them again, to be quite honest. I think I can make these look a bit more interesting, I guess, is what I'm looking for. I don't really think it matters if the de-icing pads are interesting looking. I don't really think that's a factor when it comes to building an airport, but I want them to look kind of cool. I'll be honest. I think it's good. It's something I don't think I've ever played with the de-icing pads before. So this is, new is what it is. It's new for me. I think I might have used them at some point. I really might have, and I might just not remember. That is distinctly possible, but yeah, I think that's a bit more interesting for the de-icing pads to have them like in the middle of this whole thing. But at this stage, we just need to build all of this is what we need to do. So let's start building some planned objects, and I'm going to start with everything out here. Everything up to about there, $316,000 to build all of this. In fact, let's do everything up to the door. So everything up to about there. Let's do everything out front, so all of these paths can be built as well. I know those subways cost a lot of money. I think they're 100,000 each. So most of the money in this build is actually just the subways. Now, the cool thing with all of this is that I can go in, and I need to make sure that I do this. I can go in and make sure that these guys are all flipped around. So you're actually the right way. You guys need to be turned around so that traffic is following that little one-way road that we have going on there, and things aren't too weird looking. You guys also need to get flipped around a little something like this. And now that little one-way system works, which is great. This whole section can be a two-way thing. I'm not super concerned about that. And you know, I've just realized if I was to build at least a good chunk of the infrastructure here, I could immediately start bringing in general aviation flights. But we also have $23.5 million. I don't think we're going to be hurting for money for a while. I think we're going to be able to build this and just open up the airport, get all the staff in here. Probably not in that order, but I think this is going to be good. I'm actually really excited about this. And I suppose with that built, and also a new fence in the works, I should probably mention that that's going as well. We can go ahead and start working on the rest of this. So let's start getting this tunnel in here. Let's start getting these little roads in here. Let's go ahead and get the building in here as well. Let's just get this entire thing built. This is giving me some serious frame rate problems, but that's fine. We will live. This is going to be 764,000 to build out all of that, which is totally fine. I'd like to build all of this as well. I think that's going to be really important. So we are spending a lot of money here, but it's absolutely worth it. Let's get this built as well. And I guess while we're here, let's build this this stupid tunnel that we needed, because that is going to be coming down to our good old catering depot at some point or another. I wonder if we, you know what, let's build these as well. 400,000 for those. That's ridiculous money. In fact, let's just get a bit silly and start doing some broad strokes. 720,000 for that is totally fine. You know what? Build it all. Every part of it. Let's just get this done. Why are they already built? Oh, are they? Have they been built? I actually don't know what's going on with the de-icing pads. You know what? Doesn't matter. I really have no idea. It looks like they want to be demolished, but it's whatever. Build all of you and build all of you. We have some extra sections of taxiway in there that do need to be removed. Just that little bit right there. And I think that is everything. Obviously, we do need to get the vehicles. We need to get the staff, but I'm excited about this. I'm really, really excited about this. I'm hoping it's going to look cool. I'm hoping it's going to work. We are down below $20 million, but I mean, we've spent the money now. We have the parts coming in. We have the components. We have the building materials. That's the word I'm looking for. We have the building materials. So here's hoping. Here's hoping that I've done the right thing here, and that we can make some good money. And as the sun rises on a fully built airport, we have one last thing that we need to do before we can start scheduling flights and bringing in some passengers. We need vehicles. We need some vehicles in here. And so I think what we're going to do is just filter by category. We're going to go for trucks. And honestly, I think we're going to do, I don't know, well, maybe not 4 of those. Maybe 2 of those and 2 of those. So we can deal with the general aviation. We can deal with the commercial flights. That should be fine. When it comes to baggage handling, I don't remember if we need belt loader trucks for small aircraft. I really, really don't remember. I will say I'm going to go for 10 of the baggage trucks either way, because I think that's going to be good. Probably don't need pushback. I'm relatively sure that's not necessary. I'm also fairly sure that we don't need catering or cabin cleaning, but I am going to get 4 of these guys because we have 4 de-icing pads. We don't need stair trucks. We don't need these guys. And I guess we might as well get, I don't know, 4 police cars, 4 ambulances, and 4 fire trucks for the airport as well. And then when all of that comes in, I want to assign the little baggage cars to the stands, because that seems like a relatively good idea. We also apparently have baggage handling disabled right now. Is that a thing? I mean, the airport's closed, so I guess that's probably why. We can make sure that this is enabled. We can make sure that this is enabled. So we're doing baggage handling. All of this is going to need fuel trucks and all that good stuff. We will need catering, cleaning, and de-icing. Oh, we need a de-icing fluid supplier. Interesting. Okay. I'm assuming that's going to be this guy. We have the other ones as well. Let's go for, I guess, Chem Corp. Seems like it's going to be the best one. So we'll just go ahead and accept that right off the jump. And honestly, I think I'm just going to accept the rest of the airlines as well. Actually, no, I'm going to bring in Nordic because I do like Nordic. I'm going to bring in Stripe Air because I like them as well. Skyfly is a pretty good contract. Zoom is a pretty good contract. Air Strata is a 5-star contract. Don't mind if I do. And I think that's good for now. I think that puts us in a decent little spot. Also, not 100% sure if we actually have the space for all of these vehicles. It looks like we do. All my baggage trucks are in there at least. We've got no spaces available in here. We might need to get rid of some of these fire trucks. 2 fire trucks, 2 ambulances. That's all we're gonna need. So let's go back into vehicles overview, sell, and sell. And that'll put us in a decent little spot now. So everyone can get parked in there, which is what we're gonna be looking for, which is great. And then my baggage trucks just need to be assigned to some stands. So let's make sure we're looking at my vehicles overview. We'll go 1, 2, we'll go 3 and 4, and then 9 and 10. So that should be all of the baggage trucks now assigned to stands, which it absolutely is, which is absolutely fantastic. You'll love to see it. I think that puts us in a spot now where we're pretty much good to go, which is great. Now, I think this is going to let anyone use the de-icing pad, which is fantastic. That's emergency services setup. That is everything. I don't know if the commercial flights are going to want to have cabin cleaning on a small flight, but we're going to find out is what we're going to do. Let's start by opening up we'll enable all of this is what we'll do. We will open the airport, which means we should have some general aviation flights coming in here at some point, I think, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. So that's one. That's one plane, which is better than none. There's no others right now, but you know what? They have so far to taxi that I really don't blame them. So that's totally fine. There's that's one. Was that one taken off? Where did that come from? You know what? I'm not I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I'm assuming, yeah, you're going up that way, which is great. What are you gonna be looking for when you're here? You have requested refueling. That's the only thing you're interested in. So we should have a truck, and we do have a truck coming out to deal with you, which is absolutely fantastic. We have another little plane coming through. We have another little plane coming through. So you know what that means? That means it's time for the auto planner. That's what that means. Absolutely time for the auto planner. Let's start. There we go. We've already got some commercial flights scheduled. We have passengers. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about this. I don't love that the buses are U-turning. I think that's a little bit silly, but you know what? It's fine. We've got passengers coming in here. We've got our ramp agents coming down here. We have a bit of a demand for security and janitors. So let's make sure we're staying on top of that. Janitor, and security. We'll hire a couple of you. That should put us in a good spot. We get all these people sitting out here waiting to go to their planes. We got you guys coming through now, dropping off your bags, heading into the shop, which is great, heading through security, which is great. I'm excited. I don't think these shops are going to be quite as successful as the ones in the old airport, because those old ones were influenced by the fact that we had a lot of medium flights coming and going, but this is cool. This is really cool. I'm really, really keen to see how this goes. We have a lot of flights due to come in. We have a lot of general aviation coming through. I wasn't necessarily expecting them to taxi out that way. I'm going to be honest with you. That was, that's a little unexpected. I almost want to say that it might be a good idea to have this continue to be like a one-way thing. I think that might be good. I think this should probably be a one-way in, and this should probably be a one-way out. So that way the planes can kind of filter around maybe a little bit better. I don't love them using this to sort of get out of here as well. I kind of want that to be, well, you know what? No, that's fine. Actually, that's totally fine. Oh, wow. Yeah, so some of those are commercial. I think the little one-way system that I have in mind is going to be really, really good for the number of flights that we're expecting to come through here. So you are all going to filter sort of up that way, which is totally fine. The commercial flights, yeah, so they're filtering through exactly how I would want them to. That looks really cool. And that's a lot of refueling that's going to be demanded right now. So we might actually want more refueling trucks, although they're getting around quite quickly. So maybe not. We might be all right. I've no idea if this is going to make money. I will say that right off the bat. I don't know if this airport is going to make any money, but this is cool. I'm so pleased with this. I'm so pleased that it's up and running. I like the design. It's going to be relatively expandable. This tunnel might need to move down a little bit because the sidewalks are going to continue over. I will say we're not necessarily, I mean, you're going to have to go outside to get out of this terminal into the medium one, but you're not going to have to walk quite as far. And also, as I've said, we're going to have parking by the medium terminal as well. So that's totally fine. Oh, now this is getting to be an interesting little issue right here because the planes generally want to be on this lower taxiway. They do end up sort of holding back a little bit here, which I don't necessarily love. And I would like to do something about that. Now, I think what I can do about that realistically is go in there and just take out some of those sections of taxiway. So that's going to be like this guy is going to need to go. Basically anything in between all of this can kind of go away. So that has to go away as well. Basically, like I said, all of it sort of needs to go. And I guess the planes just sort of filter out onto whatever part they need here, which, yeah, it's a bit, I was maybe a little more hopeful with this than I should have been, but it should be fine. If this goes away, which apparently it can't because it's being used, if this goes away now, and then this goes away, these guys have to go out and straight down. These guys kind of come down and around, which is fine. All of this just sort of needs to go. And that should, I would imagine, help things out a little bit, is my thinking and my hope. At the very least, I mean, you're still stopping to let something past. I don't know what this guy stopped for, to be quite honest with you. It's a bit of a weird setup. I'm guessing you're letting this one past, right? You're gonna go now, letting him past. I've no letting that one go. I've really got no idea why they're stopped here. Apparently for that one. Okay. I'm sort of thinking that my grand scheme here to have this sort of double taxiway is in fact not working. I'm getting the feeling that my great idea is in fact not so great. Okay, so this seems like it's more or less working. I mean, admittedly, these guys do still have to stop for planes coming down here, which I don't necessarily love. I'm not a huge fan of the general aviation guys causing my my commercial flights to be held back, but I mean, that's sort of just how this game is sometimes. That's sort of just how it happens to work, I guess. It's a bit weird. It's not ideal, is what it is. I'm also kind of wondering if there's maybe a better way to split all these guys up rather than kind of what I've got going on in here. Would it be better to do this and this, and then sort of shut off this little bit of taxiway here and shut off this bit of taxiway here to sort of force the planes to kind of merge at this point rather than this point? There's not really any reason to do that. It's not really essential, but I like the idea of doing that. Also, it's actually this part that we want to shut off and not this part because we kind of need that one actually. So let's just fix that very quickly by turning off all of you and re-enabling all of you. Oh, so you remember what I said about this shop not really doing many sales? It's doing fine. And honestly, this one as well is doing even better. Looking in this way, these guys are doing pretty good too. And over this way, yeah, they're doing all right. So the shops are going to make money, which is great. I'm not 100% sure that the airport itself is going to make money, but that's to be determined. At the very least, we do have so many planes basically all leaving at exactly the same time. We don't have any queue down here, which is good. We have a lot of planes coming in, which is great to see as well. I'm kind of curious to see what this looks like with the planes filtering through here, and honestly, it's kind of cool. It's pretty good to see that they are filtering through properly, which is good. We have no, like I said, no queues up there. Some queues down this way, but honestly, that's all right. I'm not really super worried about the fact that planes are, you know, queuing up down this way. Nothing crazy going on up here either. And if we look into our flight planner, we have 76 flights coming through, and that's with 10 stands. Now, imagine if I converted these guys into remote stands, how cool that would be. I'm not going to do that because I do want some general aviation, but if I ever decide to do that, we do have plenty of space up here with access to service roads that could theoretically be turned into remote stand access. So that's something that we're just going to hold on to, and that's something that we're going to be aware of. It looks like we're finally making some money with this as well, which is amazing. And so just like that, we have the sun rising on a brand new airport that I'm really, really happy with, and I really, really like the look of. I really do enjoy this, although I'm thinking it might be time for me to do something that I don't usually do in this series unless I absolutely need to, and that is to rotate the camera so that the airport is now sort of oriented the same way as the old one. Let me know if you want to look at it this way or the other way around. Either one works for me. It's going to be a bit weird getting used to the runways being off on the left if this is what we go for, but I'm not against it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And that is going to do us for today. I don't know how long this episode has been. I will let you know that the recording for this whole thing is over 3 hours, so could be a long one. I'm not going to apologize though. You knew what you were sitting down for. You could see how long the video was. So yeah. Thank you so much for, wait a minute. I've missed this part. Hold on. I just need to get rid of that. There we go. All right, we're good. Let me get the camera sort of back in the middle, roughly about there. And yeah, we're good. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.